All right, this is the Kellenberger Kel-Vision, model URS 175-430, universal cylindrical grinding machine, equipped with the Fanuc 18i-T control. Has programmable B axis for angle grinding, programmable C axis, which is the headstock. Dressing is controlled by M commands. It does have a Marpos gauge control sensor, ID spindle, couple tailstocks, filtration system, and as you can see, full enclosure.
Okay, so obviously we're up front. Start with the control, the Fanuc control, as you just mentioned, and the Fanuc control and its buttons, and here of course is the Kellenberger down low. I tagged some of these myself just so I remember. There's a lot to remember on this control, so it does a lot of things. And that's the Marpos vibration sensor, which you'll see later is kind of hanging on the side right by the main grinding wheel, which is on. The front end here, you can kind of swing the doors open here a little bit. Workhead, we don't have the tailstock on right now because I'm moving the head around. We're going to do some indexing, so and run a cycle here. We'll get to that in a second. In fact, it's off to the left here. So as we're coming around, you want to look at this first, and then I'll explain a little bit on the side. We've got the documentation on the table here, electrical drawings, maintenance, and operator, all three. So they all work good. And as I mentioned, over here, the tailstock's not on. We have two of them. I'm not even sure. I haven't really used them all that much. One's obviously a manual with the handle. This might be hydraulic. It's a good possibility. There's the wheel hub assembly. And here's a dresser, rotary dresser, that we plugged in. That works well. Plugs in on the right side manifold there. And another dresser, I think. Huh, Peter? That's what that is? Some sort of dressing tool. That would come with it, though. So some dressing discs. So that's in there. That all goes with.
Okay.
And coming around the side here, if we move this, the whole air oiling and lubrication package. This is lubrication, I think, for chucking on the workhead, but more for the machine aspect. This is the hydraulic system here, and that's the lubrication system with the air package coming up on the left side, main air manifold, all the Bosch equipment for various cylinders and stuff, all air up through here. So you got air down through here. Like I said, lubrication on the lower left. You put a gauge over here. That's all on. This is running right now. And the hydraulics I'll turn on in a second as soon as we get back around the machine. So off to the side here, we got the main switchgear panel. They added a start-stop push button station for the small hog, which isn't on here right now, but that's what that's for. A couple of main disconnects, main panel, Fanuc control and drives. The large dam FOSS is for the ID spindle. The smaller one, I believe, is for that dressing spindle. So, in fact, we can open up the rest of this here. And there's the Fanuc control, the whole I/O package. It's all clean, all in good shape. Safety, with the whole safety circuit up here, we're happy. It's ready to go. And lastly, there's nothing really much in here, but it's some gauging circuitry in here, some cables for some Marpos gauging that this thing is equipped to handle. And that's what would go down in here, and that's what these plugs are for. We're just getting them tied back temporarily. So it's got that whole package in there. And coming around the side, the coolant system would be right here, which is in the other aisle. We'll get some pictures of that, but that's where we plug in, right over here. And back to the front here, we can do some manual movement, I guess, in no particular order of what this thing generally does. So, in manual, right here, where am I at? Yeah, in manual, we should start it up first. I'm going to turn CNC on, which is basically a hydraulic system. From here out, we can do just about whatever we want. in manual, the feed control takes over in manual. This is for distance, I believe, how fast it goes, and this is for feed on the X-axis. So just manually speaking, I can move the Z here. That's at about 80%. Pretty fast, but works nice. And I can leave that there. I'm going to move X in and out. I'm not sure where the soft over travel is
Can you
at.
pull the control a little bit tighter towards me? Yeah, that way I might be able to get
maybe.
both.
That's not going to go.
Okay, that's good. That's really
turn
good.
this out a little bit. I don't know.
Yep,
I can
better.
lean in. All
Thank
right,
you.
So I meant to do that earlier. X back and forth again. And B, if I in hand still, I think I can unlock B, I'm pretty sure, and move that around now too, off B minus, B plus, which is up under control here. We're sitting on minus 20 degrees right now. And if I bump it a little bit, I would want to go B minus, and you can see, I don't know which one you want to watch, but I'm just kind of rapiding that way, or come back this way. So that's the third axis, and I think, oh, the last one, of course, is C. Now, C, I can just turn on and off without, that's just this button right here. And now you see it's turning, and it's hard to watch both, but the S dial on the control here is just speed. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, just off the control button here, the dial, or slow it down. That's on and off right now without programming it or doing anything, except that was off of this guy right here. So C off. I'm going to clamp B back up. I think I could just leave it here and call for a T command, and we'll get it back into position. So where was I at? B clamp. Let's clamp it up right there. And that's kind of it right there, without getting into the programming aspect or the Fanuc control. That's just some of the manual movements. These two guys are for turning the spindle on, which we're going to do in a minute here. So having said that, that's the manual. I guess also, if you really want to see it, let's get into B real quick. That's the manual pulse generator off of B. I can just click this around at 1. You see it down here, or tenths. Most people are familiar with this on the Fanuc control, or hundreds multiplier. And if you come back now, you'll see what I'm doing with the head. This is just me turning the pulse generator, positioning it. That's all I'm doing. And of course you can do this with the X and Y axis also. It all works the same for all three axes. So, and that said, if I flip over to MDI now, just for the sake of, I'll bring the ID spindle around maybe. MDI, program, let's get a 31, I think that's the ID spindle. If I hit that, I think we'll come around. Cycle start, and what's my feed at? I've got it at maybe 50%. We can speed it up as it's turning. Coming out. I can slow that down. There's my feed control. That's all I'm doing as the F percentage, or speed it up. I just got to watch it. I don't know where I left the slide. I don't want to crash it, so I might be too far over with the... I didn't check that. Let me slow that down, come in slowly. We might just make it. We can always do this again later, but I want to make sure we got enough room. We might just get in there. There it is. So that's bringing the spindle in. I'm just going to manually back this up real fast right away because I'm kind of close. So I'll move the X back a touch. Let's go a little bit faster here. I'm just kind of doing this on the fly, but X back. I'm going to move Z over again manually. Right about there. That's why I let this tail stock off, because this thing needs a lot of room to index. So I'm with the ID spindle right now. If I had a program in there for the ID, it would just go in and do what it's supposed to do. I have a program for the main spindle, but not for this. But in this position, it's ready to go, and I can turn it on right up this button right here. And when I turn it on, we'll fire up, and the next thing I would do naturally is hit cycle start. But in this case, I'm just going to turn it on, and we'll do a cycle with the main spindle. We'll bring that back around. So here's on spindle, delay on the drive, and then it ramps up and takes off. And we can turn C on, I believe. That would be on, just to simulate. course, I'm still in manual, so I could do this, still play around whatever I want to do. So. Good on that. Shut that down. That sounds pretty good. Turn off C. By the way, I already homed it before we started this video. And the only thing that homes on the home machine, really, because it's all absolute, is C. So when you go to home the machine, C finds its home position and you're good to go. That said, I'm just going to put a 21 command in here. In fact, I didn't even have to. We've got a program, number 47. We got a number 47 program that was sitting in here. It's a small grinding program, takes about a minute and a half, I think. If I just go into auto right now, I believe I can just hit cycle start and then switch over and watch this. It's going to come around. Here's auto. I think all my conditions are met. It'll ask me to turn the grinding wheel on when it gets to that point. I'm going to hit cycle start. Now let's see what happens over here right now. Yeah, see, it's going to its home position for the program. Workhead turns on. It's full index. This is a safe index because it's programmed, so I'm not worried about this. Comes in. Oh, now right now, let's see, is it waiting for me to hit wheel start, I think? Yeah, now I have to hit wheel start. It's waiting for me, so I'm going to turn the main work spindle on right here, and then we'll continue the, it'll take off. The program will continue. Now you don't see it moving really well, but after in a minute though, you'll see it kind of traverse back and forth. If you try to hold real still, you can kind of see it. And then after it does a couple of traverse, it goes back and repositions the BX. I don't know if that's a dress code in there or if it's just part of the part that they were making. See, now it's traversing. I think it goes back and forth a couple of times, and spin those on. You can see the lube drops. That's all looking pretty good. And here's the vibration sensor right here. See some about that. So there's that B-axis. Now we're at minus 43 degrees, and it does some end work here. Pretty close. Yep, we're right towards the end now. Just going to finish up and go on back. And maybe we can restart it just temporarily. We can maybe film some of the control if you want. Goes back to start position. Stops right there. That's that. Now if you want, I can restart that and you can kind of see what's happening here, maybe a little bit, go halfway through the program. All I'm going to really do is hit cycle start again down at the bottom here. Same program, we're at the top of the program now, cycle start. Goes through it. There's T21, it wants me to start the spindle. I'm just going to hit program, I think I can just bypass that, and it goes. Just wrapping it in, same program, same movements. Just kind of watch what's going on here. Hear that rattling of the guards a little bit. We're up on blocks. It's not an ideal condition, but runs pretty good. And of course I can hit cycle stop right here if I want. And pick up again, cycle start. No problem there. Controller works well. It's a good running machine. So maybe we can stop it right there. Good there. We can let it go through. It's about halfway done. Bring up the workshop. Yeah, a lot of these controls on the fly, you can play with them, so it's a little bit faster. That is the end of the program right here, and it'll all go back. And that's about it right there. So you can drop it down right here with the E-stop to kind of shut off the hydraulics. And leave it right there. Lube pump stays on, hydraulics off, controls up, and sure.